we've looked at incrementing integers from different threads, and let's take a look now at kind of problems you get with lists. So let's make this a list of integers, and I'll call this list1, and I'll set it equal to a new list of integers like this. A new array list, that is. Let's make this an array list, and I'll add the inputs there, Java util list, and let's put a semicolon there. And let's have another one of these, a list2, and I'm going to give this worker object, I'm going to give it a couple of methods. We're going to imagine that worker does some processing, and the processing can be broken down into a public void stage2. And now stage 1 is going to do something with this list1 here. So let's just have something to do. I'll just declare a random number generator up here. So this doesn't really have anything to do with multi-threading, but I'm just trying to make this kind of as semi-realistic as possible. And let's imagine that stage 1 it does some kind of a calculation which takes a bit of time, or maybe it gets some information from somewhere. To simulate that, I'm just going to have a thread.sleep for 1 millisecond, just to slow the program down a bit, and just to simulate going away and getting some information from somewhere. And let's then imagine that it adds that information to list1. So it says list1.add, and I'll just use random.nextInt. So I'll add random numbers here to this list. But you could imagine that this is going away and pinging a machine, and although it would probably take a bit longer, let's imagine that that does something also similar, except that it adds stuff to list2. And now I'm going to add a process method that's going to do all the processing. So I'll call it public void process, and this is just going to call stage 1 and stage 2 in a loop. So let's say that it has, we could try 1,000 iterations of this loop, and so let's say I++ here, and for every time it goes around the loop, it calls stage 1 and stage 2 like this. Now let's try running this, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put some code into my main method that times how long this processing takes. There we go. And at the end I'll say long end equals system.current time milliseconds, and I can output the duration here. I can say time taken, and I'll add on there end minus start. And let's also output the list sizes just for fun. Let's say list1 plus list1 dot size, and I'll say here list2, and let's output list2 dot size. Okay, now in the middle here I'm going to call, between start and end, I'm going to call process. And so the process method will iterate 1,000 times, and every time it goes around the loop it will call first stage 1 and stage 2, and stage 1 is writing to the first list, and stage 2 is writing to the second list. Now if I run that, we'll expect it to take, let's see, so it's taken roughly 2 seconds, just a little bit longer, which is what we'd expect really, because we've got a sleep of 1 minute